Hey, what's up, guys? Spencer Rhodes here. So, Nicholas was a character that was in seasons 5 and 6 of The Walking Dead. He was a member of the Alexandria Safe Zone, and his character kind of has an interesting story arc in his 2 seasons. He's friends with someone else at Alexandria, Aiden. Aiden's the son of the leader of Alexandria. But basically, the problem with most people, pretty much everyone at the Alexandria Safe Zone, except for maybe Aaron, when Rick's group first meet them, when Rick's group first joins them, the problem with them is that they don't know anything about really surviving. They don't know anything about like dealing with walkers. They know walkers exist, but they haven't really had any experience, any survival skills. They don't know how to fight people. They don't know how to kill people. Most of them don't know how to use guns. They've basically just been sheltered the entire time because they built the walls pretty much right when the apocalypse started, so they didn't really have to, be out in the wilderness and be tough and adapt and survive. They didn't really have to change. They when the world ended, they didn't really have to change. They just sort of they hid in the Alexandria Safe Zone behind their walls, pretending like nothing bad ever really happened in the first place. So when Rick's group comes along, they're like, wow, this is ridiculous. These guys are stupid. They don't know anything about survival. And with Nicholas and Aiden, they had this secret because they were with some other people and they were out like scavenging, scouting, and the other people got attacked and killed. And Aiden and Nicholas, they had a chance to save them, but they were too scared of the walkers, so they abandoned them. So basically, Nicholas is a bit of a coward. That's pretty much one of his big problems. And during season 5, he, Aiden, Glenn, Tara, Eugene, what's his name? Noah, they go out and they try to get some supplies, and they end up getting in trouble with walkers. They end up getting trapped. Aiden dies, and Nicholas freaks out because of walkers. Glenn knows what he's doing, and they're about to escape, but Nicholas, because he doesn't know what he's doing, he's a coward, he messes everything up, and he ends up getting Noah killed. So Noah's blood is pretty much on Nicholas's hands, and Glenn completely blames Nicholas for it, and Nicholas lies to everyone. He lies to the leader about what happened. Once again, he tries to deny, his part in getting someone else killed because he's a coward. And at the very end of season 5, Nicholas lures Glenn out, and he tries to kill Glenn because he doesn't want Glenn to expose his secret. He doesn't want Glenn to expose what he did. But this time he fails, and Glenn is about to kill Nicholas. Glenn points his gun at Nicholas, and Nicholas begs for his life. And Glenn has this big moment where he decides that he wants to do the right thing. He wants to do the morally right thing. So he spares Nicholas. And Nicholas and Glenn, they make peace, and they just head back to Alexandria. So that's Nicholas's story arc in season 5. He's a coward, but then he changes a little bit. And during season 6, he's trying to redeem himself, and he's trying to actually be a survivor, and he's trying to actually learn, and Glenn is kind of teaching him, but he's sort of like, you need to take it one step at a time, don't rush it. You're not that person anymore, but you need to be slow about it and not rush it. And he is determined. He's determined to not be a coward anymore. But during season 6, episode 3, Nicholas and Glenn, they get trapped fighting with walkers. They end up both standing on a dumpster, and they're surrounded by like a horde of walkers, and there's like no way for them to escape. And Nicholas, he keeps having like, I don't know what it is, like these hallucinations or something. Like he seems like he's just not quite mentally right. But it seems like because he's changed, he's starting to face the guilt of the things he did. So the guilt is kind of messing him up a little bit. But he doesn't see a way out. So he ends up looking at Glenn and saying thank you, and then shooting himself in the head. And this pretty much like accidentally saves Glenn's life because his body falls and takes Glenn with him. But then Glenn lands on the ground under Nicholas's dead body, and the walkers just devour Nicholas's dead body, and Glenn hides under the dumpster, and he's able to survive. So Nicholas' death kind of, like, it wasn't really for nothing. It kind of did save Glenn. I don't know if he meant to do that, but he was definitely trying to redeem himself in season 6. He was definitely trying to not be a coward anymore. And as for whether or not I wish he lived longer, this is interesting. Because in the comics, there's characters that die the same way in the comics. There's characters that don't exist in the comics, but sometimes they die the exact same way as they die in the comics. Sometimes they live longer than their comic death. Sometimes they die before their comic death. Nicholas was a character that died before his comic death. In the comics, he lives all the way to close to the end of All Out War, and he dies because of one of the he gets infected with a gunky weapon. It's towards the end of All Out War. Negan and the Saviors, they start putting walker gunk on their weapons, and they just want to like stab and shoot people so that they can get infected by the gunk and then turn into walkers and start eating people that aren't infected and stuff like that. It's kind of just like a war tactic. So Nicholas gets wounded by an infected weapon, so he turns and becomes a walker. But he doesn't live that long on the show. He doesn't make it to All Out War. If they had followed the comics, Nicholas would have died close to the end of season 8 rather than the beginning of season 6. But I mean, personally, for me, it doesn't make that much of a difference. I mean, yes, he was trying to change, and if they had kept him alive longer, I wouldn't have been against it. I wouldn't have been like, that's a bad thing that he lives longer. But I'm not against his death. He just wasn't that big of a character. Basically, when Glenn decides to let him live, it's more for Glenn's character than it is for Nicholas's character. Nicholas is still just kind of a minor character. So, he doesn't really get to redeem himself for that long. He just shoots himself in season 6, episode 3. And I think it works. I think it works fine. He's just not that important of a character, and they didn't keep him around that long. They just killed him off and they moved on. And I can respect that. And I understand why they did it. He just wasn't that big of a character. But it would have been interesting if he had lived, hypothetically, because Negan killed Glenn, so maybe that would have motivated Nicholas to be a serious soldier in All Out War. He's like, Glenn did the right thing and saved, and he didn't kill me. I deserve to die, but he let me live anyway, so I'm going to honor him and honor his memory and fight in the war. And then he could get his comic death where he gets infected by the weapon, and then his death is that much more meaningful and impactful. I don't know. But the way they did it, I can appreciate it. I can respect it. I don't think he was one of those characters that needed to be like, Beth or something and become like a main character or anything. He was just a minor character, and they killed him off and they moved on. And I get it. It's The Walking Dead. You can't have all the minor characters live forever. Sometimes you just have to give them casual deaths to move the story along. So overall, I think Nicholas's death works, even though he doesn't get much time to redeem himself and he dies before his comic death. I think Nicholas's death works the way it is. So overall, no, I do not wish that he lived longer. Anyway, that's all I have for this video. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And as always, don't be shy. Hit that like and subscribe. I'm not going anywhere. I make 1 to 2 Walking Dead videos per day, so please hit that subscribe button. Right now we are at 738 subscribers. My goal is to try to get to 800 in the next few months. So just remember, every subscriber counts. Every bit of support matters and is very, very appreciated. Hopefully we can get to that goal of 800. Anyway, with all that said, I am Spencer Rhodes, and I will see you guys later. Bye.